Hello there, welcome to yourstory.com, and again, as usual, we bring you some wonderful people. With me here today is Sarv Saravanan of Dell EMC. Hi, Sarv.
Hi Vishal, how are you doing?
Very good, fantastic. You know, Sarv's an amazing man into product development and R&D. Set up EMC's R&D in India.
Correct.
And also China and several other places.
Led China and also set up the Egypt presence for the company as well.
One important thing about Sarv is back in the 80s when he started off from a small town, right? Tanjavur?
Yes.
And not knowing English, very little, and has grown to the top of the corporate world as general manager of Dell EMC today, right?
Correct.
Which means nothing is impossible in life, right? So without ado, I'm going to ask him, what is Dell EMC doing in India after the merger that happened in 2016?
Yes, September 2016 is when the merger happened. So, you know, as a result of the merger, the parent company is called Dell Technologies.
Right.
Under that we have Dell, which is the traditional
Yes.
consumer business. And the enterprise business of Dell combined with EMC's business, EMC's enterprise business,
Right.
combining the two, Dell EMC's the enterprise business of Dell Technologies. And then in addition to that, we have other brands which we call strategically aligned businesses, part of this umbrella. One of them is called VMware, which is a very
Right.
famous brand
Right.
by itself. And we have other ones like Pivotal Labs, VirtuStream, and SecureWorks, Boomi,
Right.
as well as RSA, again a big
The
brand, security brand, right? All of that is under Dell
Dell
Technologies umbrella.
Okay, and what do you take care of?
I take care of the Dell EMC R&D, product development, and service delivery for customers around the world from India.
Okay, very interesting. Digital transformation is a big topic
Correct.
in India, across the globe. Everyone says SMBs have to go digital. What does it mean to you? Before we get into the specifics.
Yeah, it's not just SMB. All enterprises have your digital businesses.
Right.
There's no argument today that business has to be digital or not. Every business has to be digital. Businesses are increasingly becoming software businesses,
Yes.
irrespective of the industry they are in: manufacturing, retail, financial services, and whatnot. And there are 5 characteristics that determine whether a business is digital or not.
Right.
One is, are you always on and available? 2, are you predicting your opportunities? And are you innovating with agility?
Right.
Are you personalizing your experience with for your customers? And what about trust and transparency?
Very true.
You know, if you
Very
achieve
true.
all of that, and underpinning,
digital.
behind that is all technology, you are digital business. And only about 20% of the businesses around the world, based on the survey we did a year and a half ago, are really there or on the verge of getting there, right?
Why is that only 20%? Is that because the lack of money being one hand, or lack of being thought through, or everybody gets confused with what being digital?
Understanding what it is really, and being ready to embark on the journey.
Okay.
And then also, what do you do with the legacy that they have all built over several decades?
You know, it's very interesting. You say that, what do you do with legacy? Do they discard legacy and go into
transformation? There are steps.
Okay.
There are steps available, and they can go through to get there. But it's a journey. It's not overnight, and you need to plan for it.
Okay.
You need to provide enough budget for it,
Right.
and you need to have the right talent to help you get through that.
Okay.
So it's therefore it's becoming
Okay,
complex.
so we have a lot of SMBs.
Yeah.
Usually SMBs in the range of 1 million to going up to 10 million watching the show. And some of them are in the manufacturing space. And they ask us, is going digital, setting our website and communicating with our customers globally, is it setting up an e-commerce store, so that people can order? Or is it having an app? So some of these questions crop up. So where should they start?
It's really about, what is that, the 5 characteristics
Yes,
that,
like you mentioned.
that I mentioned.
Yes.
It's really about, your objective should be those 5 characteristics.
Define
right?
an objective.
Yeah, define an objective. What is that you really want to achieve? It's not about being technologically savvy for the sake of it, but what is that you want to achieve? Outcomes. The outcomes are the 5 things that I just talked about, right? How do you individualize your experience with your customer?
Right. That can be a website, an app, or whatever.
And then also, how do you customize it for the customer? How do you personalize for the customer based on the customer that visits or the customer that uses the app?
Right.
And how well you understand that person.
Okay.
There has to be, and behind that is data, behind that is analytics.
Correct.
Right? We talked about another character, which is, are you predicting your opportunity? And the predicting opportunity really is about using data, analytics, now we increasingly call more and more AI and machine learning, all of that kind of stuff, and using that to really personalize the experience for the customer. So all of that have to come together, and you can start wherever you want. But I think if you are truly a digital business, you got to achieve all of these characteristics.
Okay, and you've given us an outlook into how they begin. So it's all about data in the end.
Correct.
Collect from your legacy system. Don't dump that data. Structure it, right? You got to structure it and then move on. Is that the way you look at it?
And basically, it's not just about structure. Analytics and understanding customers is no longer just structured data.
Okay.
A lot of unstructured data. A lot of knowledge about the customer is out there in the internet, on the internet, right?
Correct.
On the web, on the cloud somewhere, right? Bring it all together to be able to, understand the customer better, customize your offering for the customer, your services for the customer. All of that is really about your old data, which is which is mostly structured, and new age data, which is mostly unstructured.
Unstructured, yeah. And you're saying only 20% have been able to combine these two together. The old and the new.
What I was trying to achieve this digital nirvana and the journey that they have been on. Only 20% have been
able to achieve it.
Reach that, and the remaining 80%, lack of understanding. They just started with some pilots, and they haven't fully planned it yet, and some haven't heard of that at all. Right?
Very true. Do they engage with you on a direct basis? Is it something that what are you doing in India?
Large customers. We do have these kind of conversations happening with our large customers around the world every single day, and really combining these businesses together, Dell EMC together, and our vision is really helping businesses transform and to provide them with the right infrastructure for them to run their existing workloads as well as the future workloads. Future workloads is really increasingly more cloud native kind of load. So how do we help them get there through this journey? We have 4 steps, 4 components to this transformation journey. One is the IT transformation. How do you kind of transform your IT infrastructure to be digital ready infrastructure? And there are steps. It's defined by whether it is cloud. Does it have the cloud characters? Even if it is your internal infrastructure, does it have all the characteristics of the cloud? And it is increasingly software defined. And helping them get there. That's one step. The second step is really
hybrid networks.
When you transform, it not only helps you build a private cloud with all the cloud characters, also you can extend that to include public cloud as well. Then it becomes hybrid cloud. The combination here, the way we help our customers is the combination of new age data center products with the software-defined layers from our VMware, for example. That's
and the security
we call it IT transformation. The second is really what we call security transformation, security.
And you've got RSA with you.
Yeah, RSA, SecureWorks, and there are products from VMware that are part of our security portfolio as well. All of that coming together, helping transform their security scenario. And the reason why it is important you transform your security is that your security issue is not just within. Your users are not only coming from within; they are coming from all around the world, And it's transcending your organization boundaries.
Yeah, that's the nature of being digital. That your customers are everywhere, coming from anywhere, different networks.
Correct. And the third piece is workforce transformation. Your users are not just sitting in the office and doing the work. They want to be wherever they want to be, and they want to use whatever device they want to use.
I agree. That's already happened.
Already happening in a large company scenario. How do you manage it? How do you give them the freedom? How do you give them tool for them to be productive and from wherever they are? So that's workforce transformation, the tools and technologies and the products to go with that.
Very true.
And the last piece is what we call digital transformation. The pinnacle of that is really, it's whether you're digitally transformed or not. What it says is. What says that is the application that they use.
Very true.
And what kind of application that they use. Are they using those applications on mobile or any other device? And that's what determines whether it's a digital business or not.
Very interesting, sir. So you're giving a single point view of everything. Right? That's how you approach it. But there are a lot of point solutions everywhere.
So basically,
and that's where people make mistakes.
So basically, what we're saying is that increasingly your architecture has to become the application architecture has to become cloud native architecture, and your legacy has to transform towards more cloud native kind of architecture. And as you invest in cloud native applications in the future applications have to be cloud native while you're transforming your legacy to cloud native architecture.
Okay.
And that gives you the agility. Cloud native architecture is, and the underpinning on that is fast and big data.
Right.
It's data oriented architecture, right? So that it's important, to achieve all the characteristics we talked about.
Very true.
You get there faster.
This is exactly what I'm getting into. All this that you talked about, which EMC is also doing. Should these SMBs also work with startups? Startups are being very disruptive. They're built in the cloud. They're cloud first. They're very data oriented. Are startups really disrupting a lot of these large companies, these point solution companies? And it's something which EMC wants to latch on to. What kind of work have you done with startups here? It's a two-ended question. The transformation from the startup side, and what is EMC doing with startups? Dell EMC.
So the survey that we I touched upon, where I said only 20% of the business are ready to take advantage of digital. The same survey, a few questions that we asked of the enterprises that we surveyed. About 4,000 of them around the world in 18
surveyed 4,000 companies
around the world in 18 different countries, 13 different industries. And some questions we asked were, do you see startup, do you know where your industry is going to be 5 years from now? And 70% of them said no clue. And do you see startups in your space? And similar percentage responded that yes, we do, and we are worried.
70% of them said yes or more?
Yeah, close to that, thereabout. And they said we're seeing them. This is irrespective of the industry, and we are very worried about it.
Okay. Why are they worried about it? Just because they're not digitally prepared?
Yes, and also the startups are nimble, agile, and then they have there is no legacy, there is no baggage, they are digital, that sort of thing, right? And did we anticipate Paytm several years ago?
No, we did not.
Now it's a bank.
It's
and has a bigger reach than a traditional bank, right?
I agree.
We see that kind of a trend everywhere.
Yeah, you don't have to own anything today, right? You don't need physical assets. Everything is digital.
And another good news here is that there is a level playing field as well for small businesses.
Right.
And since everything is cloud native, and there are lots of platforms, companies that are offering service, all kinds of services on the cloud, and that's a big news for small businesses.
Right.
And now, given all that, there is a level playing field for them to compete against the big global players in any industry.
I agree.
And just one example that I know is NowFlow. It's a company that provides an SEO platform for small businesses.
Yes.
And they have 150,000 small businesses on their platform, and that is growing 30% quarter on quarter in India, domestic.
Wow. And they've grown global, I guess.
They're looking at growing outside, and they have small presence in some pockets outside. But the 150,000 that I'm talking about, domestic businesses.
Yes.
And interestingly, in excess of 50 to 55% of those businesses are non-urban businesses.
Wow.
Non-urban businesses.
Wow. And no wonder they're doing a survey across India, aren't they?
Yeah, they have something called Digital Days, basically about going deeper into the country, what digital means to individuals in a village or small town, or digital or smartphone means to a small business, and how productive they are becoming, what they're using that as a business tool.
Very interesting. So that's why people like you want to leverage the power of startups, right? As Dell EMC, you have a view different from all the other companies out there. Everyone goes and sets up an accelerator. You're saying no, that's not the approach.
We thought about it a couple of years ago, and we thought, everyone is doing it. If you have an accelerator, you can probably accommodate 10 companies, and others are doing it as well. Yes. I think what we felt was, working with friends in iSpirit, hey, they really need specific help. Accelerators available. They need access to customers.
Accelerators, let them start up.
Yeah.
Start up.
They have access. One, they have the product ready or a solution ready, and they need access to market, access to customers. They need go-to-market advice. They need some really, as they scale, some top-notch technical talent to advise them how to build scalable architecture, and folks like me who can mentor them to build business. I think these are the big help that they need. Yes. Not always the accelerator. Everyone was doing. We thought let's focus on those sort of areas.
Give us some insight into what Dell EMC is doing with startups. So what do you intend to do with startups?
These are the areas we want to focus on. For example, we are talking today in recent times we've been talking to companies that are building solutions around digital cities.
Okay.
Digital
Smart
cities.
cities.
Smart cities, digital cities. And that's a big interest area for us, given the investment here in our country as well as other countries within this region. And we are talking to startups that are point solutions, and see how we can bring them all together onto our platform and give them the go-to-market capability.
Okay, and what are the verticals interested? Everyone's talking about AI, machine learning. Are those areas of
those are technologies that cut across every industry and every. I think it's important as we build more data to devise more intelligence out of it, to drive more intelligence out of it. I think AI and ML are important technologies for the future. And again, not everyone wants to do mundane jobs. To automate those sort of things, to put people on more meaningful jobs, to achieve more productivity. To have deeper insights. I think these are important technologies everyone should embrace.
Sarv, you're a technocrat, right? I mean, do startups today reach Dell EMC through your own platform? It's not an accelerator. Do they write you and come in and take advice? How should they contact you?
So we do have a program that we have been thinking of devising, the iSpirit. That's a channel. As a corporate partner for iSpirit, once attempted, we didn't take off. But we are still talking now. We can, through that channel, the members of iSpirit, they can come through our other channels, or they can write to me, for example.
Directly. You're saying a small startup can reach a C-suite leader like you directly.
Absolutely. I deeply engage with that community as well.
Okay, and tell me, you deeply engage. You're mentoring several of them. The quality of startups, are they very good in India? From a Dell EMC's perspective?
It's going. The last several years, a few years, there was a wave, we all know, there was a consumer-centric wave.
There's a lot of money poured into it.
Important, needed. Somebody has to take care of the consumers of this country. We also deserve to have better services.
Sarv is going to be talking about the B2B though. B2B startups.
So last couple of years, we've seen a lot of interesting B2B, and also the investment community also have started looking at them more favorably now. I think we do see more and more quality startups.
Quality, what does quality mean to you?
Quality means, one, solving unsolved enterprise problem. Two,
solving unsolved enterprise
globally acceptable problem.
Ready for global scale.
Ready for global scale. Ready for these are more universal than just India. For example, therefore their market need not be just restricted to India. They can go global. I think that's important. That's important to really showcase the innovation capability of the country as well, right?
Have you met anybody like that? From a Dell EMC perspective, have you engaged with anybody? Has anybody become a vendor?
Not as a vendor, but as more partners, right? Partners and like go to market and those sort of things. We do have
any interesting technology that you want to tell our audience?
For example, I advise this company called Belong, Belong.co. They're really taking talent acquisition and talent management to a totally different level, applying AI and ML kind of phenomenon, right? And there are a lot of customers that I know benefited from it.
They came in as a partner with you?
So we are trying to use them as well, but there are others that have used them more advanced, deployed them for in a more advanced way, and we are just early with them. But
the other thing is, you consider yourself an entrepreneur. You're saying that organizations are large enough to get talent from internal sources. Are you a big fan of that? Entrepreneur getting talent from inside.
So we do have our own internal innovation programs, right? We do, every large company, if they want to be relevant, continue to be relevant in the industry that they are operating in.
You do have a program.
It's not just acquiring companies that is going to help them, but also what's innovation, culture or agenda within at the grassroots level. How do you bring out ideas from grassroots level? How do you bubble it up? How do you incubate internally? I think all companies have to do that, and we have been very effectively doing it here. And both Dell and EMC before the merger, now as well. The culture is pretty rich from an innovation standpoint, and we do have events and programs and platforms available for them, for our team members to publish their ideas and get an opportunity to pitch and get an opportunity to take it forward as well.
I want to talk about the talent. I was talking to the IT minister here, Priyank Kharge, and he said on a survey done by the government, only 7% of the graduates are employable. It's getting worse. 10 years ago they said only 10%, right? on one level, India is going to be the tech stack of the world. There is no doubt that there are some great engineers out there. Is there a talent shortage in this country? And we have more graduates than people who can execute. Is that a problem?
It's a cycle issue, right? It depends on talent shortage. If you are looking at a normal software developer, yes, there is not enough. There is enough, right?
Yes.
But if you're talking about really cutting edge skills like AI, ML, and cloud native developers or full stack developers as they call now, do you have enough? Don't.
No, we don't.
Right? So,
why is that so?
It's I think our programs are not really catching up to the demand.
So it's the education system that has to prepare.
And one, it's the companies as well. I don't put the blame entirely on education systems. What do we as enterprises do to engage with institutions and give them the sense of what's coming and partnering with them to help build those curriculum and build those capabilities that industry needs. And we have to do our part as well. And
you've done that, right? You've tried out.
We tried, not enough. I'm talking about while individual companies may do. So we do have a rich relationship with 600, 700 engineering colleges around the country. We do have, we train the trainer, and also we provide curriculum on cloud, for example, and security as well. But I think there's a lot more we can do, given the new things like...
Let me take your example. You're a constant learner. If you compared yourself in 96 and now, you've learned a lot, haven't you? And it is continuous learning.
Absolutely.
And you grew in an era where there was no opportunity and neither was there information available easily.
Yeah.
How did you manage to do that? And that's something that I tell all the younger people who are watching this to do. How do you continuously learn? How did you keep yourself relevant? How did you become general manager?
It's a very personal one for me. It's a very personal one for me. I went to a rural college.
Yes.
I came out of the college. I didn't even speak a sentence of English.
Okay.
First job that I got was in Coimbatore, PSG, lecturing computer science.
Okay.
And at that time, it was also funny why I took that job. The industry was only paying 2,000. The teaching job was paying 4,000.
Wow.
That was the state of industry then.
Okay.
And I took that job, and little did they know that I needed to speak English. So the next day I go to the college. It's a little cosmopolitan kind of crowd. You have to teach in English.
Okay.
And that's when I realized how inadequate I was. And that's when I internalized at that point. Hey, learning is very important for me if I'm going to be really successful. And learning, starts now and it continues for the rest of my life.
And you continuously coded also? Did you learn to upgrade your software skills versus your soft skills?
Both. So if I really need to be successful in career, I really need those soft skills.
Yeah.
And given the role that I play in the company, a lot of people think that I probably have come from
the US.
US or a big management college.
That was the first question I asked you.
Yeah, a big management institute like IIM or Harvard or whatever, right?
Correct.
And I don't have any of it. So the only way I could do was to continue to learn the soft skills as well as the technology skills as I was growing. And of course, don't ask me to code now. I stopped coding a long time ago.
But you're giving direction on this.
Yeah, just as a leader and the role I play, I got to be directionally in tune with where the industry is headed, where my company is headed, to be able to help our team and team members.
Listen, that's a fascinating insight. So you're saying learning is continuous. These guys have to go out, find resources, study. It can be small certification courses, maybe even go to YouTube and learn maybe, right?
Hey, there are plenty of tools available. The world is so, the internet is so big and there's so much resource and tool available out there for to get taken by. Compare that with 20 years ago, 25 years ago, we had to learn through only books.
Correct. And now you can go to the internet and get everything.
Practitioners are available online with you.
Very true.
And there is so much happening on the YouTube.
Right.
And there's plenty of resource available.
So don't give up is one.
Don't give up. And it's much easier to learn now than before.
Before we close, I want you to tell us about where is India in next 5 years? Are we going to be a technology leader?
I'm betting on that personally.
Okay.
Hey, India is a warehouse of problems.
Okay. Yes.
Right. We have lots and lots of problems to solve in the country.
Yes.
Internally.
Yes.
Before we can even think about the world, right? And that will allow us to become a leader. And as we solve those problems, it will allow us to become a big leader in the world when it comes to technology and digital, which is there. But I think we can really be more innovative around it. Just examples in recent past that has happened, right? Who has the most sophisticated identification system in the world?
Yeah.
India.
Correct. Aadhaar.
Right? Aadhaar.
Yes.
Right? It's a technology marvel.
Right.
We really stretch the technology limits of the technology.
Where identifies every Indian.
And similarly, from there now, what they're doing to solve other problems at nation scale. You're talking about 1.23 billion people, and the problem space is so huge.
What do you say to people who say that India is finished? It has too many engineers who won't make it. What do you say to them?
No, opportunity is big. There are plenty of problems to solve, and we ourselves are, for example, more as a giving. We're doing something for the country, and so we talk about digital and all of that. Hey, what do they mean to solving unsolved problems in a country like India?
Okay.
Right. We picked up healthcare, for example, and in healthcare, for example, you have huge demand and supply gap going. If you consider metrics like infant mortality ratio or number of doctors per 1,000 people, there's a huge difference between developed and developing nations.
I agree.
Right? This is not going to be solved by brick and mortar approach. We've got to find new ways to solve. This is the way. So to demonstrate that it's not one company that can solve it, we're partnering with others as well. Like Tata Trust, for example, we're partnering with them. We're creating a cloud platform, and for
startups to use or everyone to use.
We're open sourcing it, so anybody can jump in now. But so far, we have been hand holding it with Tata Trust. It's a health platform for the country, and we have deployed it now in Andhra.
Okay.
It's basically
how many lives has it touched?
It's about 10 million people in Andhra.
And it's for healthcare, right?
Yeah, it's basically non-communicable diseases screening and delivering healthcare services around it. By the government. Government is the biggest investor in healthcare right now, country.
How do they? If startups want to build something on this, how do they access it?
We haven't, planned for it yet, but we are now, kind of talking about rolling out to a couple of states right now. Once that is done, we'll package it and make sure it's available, and everyone can contribute to it.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's wonderful talking to you, Sarv. And to summarize this interview, don't give up. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
The future of work is to stay relevant.
Stay relevant.
And what else would you want to say?
And India has huge opportunities.
There you go. That's for you. And thank you for watching us, and watch us on Saturday at the Future of Work. This is happening at the Ritz-Carlton in Bangalore. Again, Sarv, see you there.
See you there. Thanks, Vishal, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful speaking with you.
Thank you. Bye.